And so, beloved masters, the increments of full moon to new moon are a measure that you can look at that almost exactly every 2 weeks, the moon shifts from the full to the quarter phase to the new to the three-quarter phase and back to full. And it is, as you measure those times, it is, beloved masters, it's almost like the old soap opera. As the sands of life move through the hourglass, so as the days of our lives. And that's pretty much exactly how life is moving. It is moving so fast that it really does seem like the sand moving through an hourglass. And as you turn it every 8 hours or every 12 hours, and it makes the next cycle, the moon is moving through a week or a little better in each of its phases. So on this day, the moon is in the sign of Gemini. Communication, learning, curiosity, seeking, and community. The coming together, the sharing, the being with each other. And certainly this is an important aspect as humanity has gone further and further and further away from each other in the last several thousand years. The moving apart, subtle though it has been, has culminated dramatically in these times with not only the United States, which has in many ways been a beacon to the world for the last 250 years. And it is that as this land is so divided, so is the world. The moon in Gemini, air. The sun in Sagittarius, fire. And as the moon is about communication, Sagittarius is about truth. It is about justice. It is about bringing things before the law. And so, in many ways, we could say that the energy of this particular full moon is about the revelation of secrets, as Mercury in Scorpio is opposing Uranus in Taurus, the revealing of secrets that have been kept, and in these times, some of them not particularly well. In fact, in this time, there has been a tendency of the current government to flaunt their secrets because they're breaking through barriers. They're releasing what the world has been about. So secrets are being revealed. And those revelations are calling humanity, not just the United States, but all over the planet. Wake up and pay attention to what's going on because people have for such a long time believed that if something didn't directly affect them, if it didn't get right into their life, if it wasn't actually, obviously taking something away, it didn't have anything to do with them. And as the planets are taking the Earth into a whole new frequency, the realization that as the master it would be for all. If you do it unto I, you do it unto everyone. So positive or negative, this particular full moon is casting a light on places where things have been happening that are having a dynamic influence on the whole earth. And yet, people have gone on about their business. It doesn't affect me until it does. And now it is. So Mercury, still sitting in the sign of Scorpio, secret communiques, communications that were supposed to be made in a very special communicative line were made on someone's personal cell phone. And it made military secrets that have always been carefully guarded open to anyone that would happen to be scanning the band at the time of those communications. So it is, beloved masters, the secrets that humanity has kept from themselves is one of the greatest revelations that people are experiencing in this time. The wake-up call. What have you been hiding from you? And beloved masters, I would venture to say that some of the things that you have really been hiding from yourself are the good things about you. You may know that you do good. You may know that you're talented. You may know that you create well, but you haven't let it in. And these times are about letting those things that, yes, logically you know, open up within the heart and soul like a blossom. And in its opening, that blossoming heart, that thousand-petaled lotus in the soul, is opening you up to a realization, to an acceptance of new energy that can allow you to appreciate, to understand that even though many of you might say, by the numbers of logical counting, I'm old. And yet by the understanding of life in its greatest promise, you can potentially live 1,000 years or more easily. And so, beloved masters, even at 100, you're virtually a baby. You're just beginning. You're new at life in the spirit. So the Gemini moon is talking about all kinds of things that haven't been talked about. And the desire to help people is a big piece of the communication. The Mercury in Scorpio is going deep into subjects that the logical mind did not want to deal with. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. Mental health, child abuse, hunger, the things that may be going on next door, but if they're not right where I am, it's not my problem. And now, as the earth is changing, transforming, translating, moving into new awareness of deep spiritual connection, it's always been interesting that even though people can be very indifferent, when there's a crisis, everyone seems to be willing to pitch in and help. It takes a crisis for people to come together. And so, voila, the earth is in a crisis. And people all over the planet are looking to come together, to unite, to be more whole. And those that have been in the background, secretly plotting and planning to take over, in many ways, beloved masters, they have missed their time. If this plot to take over the world had occurred 100 years ago, they probably would have succeeded. But now, dearly beloved masters, the destruction that is being perpetrated all over the planet is necessary. And I hear voices saying, You're a master. How can you say that? Because change invariably requires the breaking down of the old ways in order to bring about a space where the new ways can come into being. And so, beloved masters, this necessity for so many of the old things in old places being broken apart so that the new can come in. Yes, it's very sad to see ancient buildings blown apart. It's very sad to see houses that have been in place for hundreds of years either being washed away or bombed. And yet, dearly beloved masters, in many ways, those things, in some manner, whether it's a natural disaster or a plot of the human mind, the old ways must break apart. It doesn't mean that those ways will be lost, because all of the revelation that Scorpio is bringing, the secrets being revealed, opened up, even sometimes when something is washed away or blown apart, in the shambles of the basement or the underpassages, there are things that were buried long ago, and people have looked for them and looked for them, and no one could find them. And now, there they are, revealed. How is it that no one found them? Because, dearly beloved masters, the magic of spirit can literally make you incapable of seeing what's right in front of your face till you're ready. And much of humanity, especially in the more progressive countries, has gotten blind to a lot of things that are right there. And suddenly, as everything is breaking down and breaking apart, suddenly they see what's always been there. But they couldn't see it until they were ready. And so it is so vitally important that you understand that the idea of loss is a limited perspective that was invented by the logical mind. Because if you convince people that there's not enough to go around, they'll accept impoverishment easier. And then those who are gathering up the wealth of the world can say, but we had a right to this because we are chosen. Dearly beloved masters, I say this virtually every time we come together. Every soul was created equal to every other soul, given the same tools, the same intellect. And by the way, intellect is neutral. The intelligence of the outer world is, you might say, an agenda to lead people to believe in lack and loss. The inner world appreciates and values equality, and that's where the earth is moving now in this time, but in a new way and into places that humanity hasn't been before. So, dearly beloved masters, the planet Pluto is sitting at 1 degree of Aquarius, and even though Jupiter is at 24 degrees of Cancer, it's still moving in close enough to be in an opposition to Pluto very shortly. It was for a while, but Jupiter is retrograding back, and it will move back a little further before we see it stationed to go direct. And this time it will move into the opposition with Pluto. Pluto is truth. Jupiter, as the ruler of Sagittarius, is about justice, not just the rule of law, but the fairness of law. The fact that law is about an equality, a balance, everyone receiving equal treatment, that none are really better or more deserved to do whatever they feel like than any other. So in this Pluto opposing Jupiter, another pathway, you might say, in the inner to more and greater truth. Each one of these sets the sun and moon in opposition, with Venus sitting very close to the sun in the sign of Sagittarius. And you might say Venus is about security. It is about a feeling of safety, of happiness, of comfort. So perhaps a breather this time from all of the constant crisis that the earth is experiencing as truths begin to become self-evident. And Spirit says, let's take a peace break. Let's take some time for the holidays. Let's take more than just one day to make our prayers known. Let us feel from the very depths of our being our part in this grand whole. Each one of you. is invaluable. You are so important. Your perspective is a necessity. And yes, masters, it isn't about fighting over who's right. It's about waking up to the fact that every perspective has its place, even if they seem absolutely opposing. The equal center is balance. Finding in the differentiations of opposing planets what is the truth of these polarities. So it is that this is a time, another level of awakening. And we might suggest that there will be many epiphanies occurring between now and the spring equinox. People waking up. Oh, like a shock, like a cold glass of water in the face, or the slow awakening. Ah, things are different. I feel different. Life is different. What's going on out there is not what I've known before. And so the wake-up call within, who are you? Not who did they tell you you are? Not, well, they said, not, I've been told many times, or this is what my lineage followed. Who are you within? Do you even know who you are? Because certainly the logical mind has done its best to make humanity afraid of going within, either fearful of finding something terrible or of a great shame when you find out how terrible you are, or what if you find out that you're really, really great, that you really, really have gifts, that you really, really are a blessing? How is logic going to deal with that? It's taken thousands of years to get you to where you are today. If you began to get the understanding deep within yourself of who you really are, then, dearly beloved masters, logic is having a very difficult time convincing those that are awakening that they should go back to sleep again. I've got this, logic says. You just kind of doze there and I'll handle everything. And people are waking up. And they're saying, wait a minute, I don't feel like I should be asleep right now. And that awakening is glorious. If you're sitting in a room quietly, take the time as you look about the room to feel what's going on behind you in the room. Don't look, just feel what's behind you, what's going on in the room. Feel it energetically. Become aware of just how you really can be in touch with even the things that are going on behind you. And the more comfortable you get with feeling what's going on around you instead of just thinking about it, then, dearly beloved masters, you'll find you begin to experience how much bigger you are than you thought you were. How much bigger your world is than you have been educated to believe for eons of time. Divine, amazing, beloved, creative masters. Now, a master doesn't have to be large in stature to be a master, because everyone has that potential. But as you become more and more aware of how big the space is that you live in, you may look at the walls of your house and say, this isn't a lot of space. But once you begin to feel, you begin to become aware that those walls, even though you have been programmed to believe, are a protection. They keep people out. But you will begin to realize that the space that is yours is far more vast than the limits of the walls of your house or your apartment or your yurt, wherever you are living. Your world is expanding, and as you feel it instead of thinking about it, you become aware from the center. Oh my God. And Goddess says, yes, I'm really big. Yes, you are. No, I mean, I'm really, really big. Yes, you are. How did I get this way? You were made that way. You never really stopped being that big. You just got caught up in an illusion of limitations. And so you get to delight in, enjoy the vastness of who you really are. Merry Christmas. What a gift. My world is so vast, and logic has spent all this time making me believe that there's not enough. And dearly beloved masters, there's plenty. Plenty is a word that logic doesn't mention much. Logic talks about enough. Even more, it talks about not enough. But enough and not enough are never enough. They literally never are enough. Plenty addresses the unlimited abundance of universal supply. Well, if there's that much, why don't I have it? Because among the many parts of the illusion of the logical mind, you've been taught that you don't deserve it, that you shouldn't expect it, at least in the physical world. You might get it after you die if you're lucky. And of course, that just really creates a lot of conflict in the logical mind about, well, how can I enjoy physical pleasures when I'm dead? Because one, you never die, and two, they're not limited to physicality. They just change their form, change their frequency. But the pleasure of living is available in any level that you're living on if you're willing to allow yourself to understand how to adapt. So, challenges and changes. Uranus continues to be in a trine to Pluto. And this is a mega intensity that's been going on for over a year now of really emphasizing how important truth is, honesty, integrity. The more you connect within, the more the questions may arise of, well, when is it the truth and when is it a lie? And in the illusion, no matter what you say, there's going to be people that will absolutely be totally sure that what you're saying is a lie. And they can even quote scripture. They can talk about the life of Jesus. And then there's those that'll agree with you. And then there's those that just shrug their shoulders and say, I don't know. But as you personally allow the recognition of how much bigger your world is. And certainly with these huge outer planets, putting such an amazing amount of energy directed to, beamed into the earth and all of her people, as you experience that you're so much bigger than you believed you are, you begin to feel from the Lord God of your being a sense of truth that the logical mind wouldn't comprehend. When you feel it in your soul, it's so clear. When you feel it deep within you, it's so right. And yet, logic has manipulated and twisted truth until it has become not just questionable, but a battle zone. My truth is truer than your truth. No, truth is. It isn't better, it isn't worse. It is. It's a reality. And a lot of what's going on the earth at this time is products of illusions. The awakening is here. Uranus deals, as it's moving through Taurus, with security. And Venus is sitting in an opposition to Uranus, or rather Mercury is right now. And so Mercury in opposition to what is security? Secrets being revealed. The security lies in you. You create, dearly beloved masters, your own security. What are you thinking about? Where is your focus as you go through the day? Where is your focus? As you wake up in the morning, what's on your mind? And take the time to consider where your focus lies the most. If you are worrying about money, you create challenges with your finances. Because if your focus is on there's not enough, and that's what worrying about money usually is, there's not enough, there's not enough. And you begin to move your faith to a deep, empowered realization. There's always plenty. It may not come the way I thought it would or thought it should, but it is there. It may not come in the amount that I decided I needed, but then need builds walls. Need is a denier. it takes away because it causes you to believe that God is a limited deity. So, dearly beloved masters, if you focus on what you don't want and how to get rid of it, and you may go from subject to subject to subject throughout the day, focusing on what you don't want, how you don't like your life being this way, and how in the world can I get rid of this? And the answers are inside. But how can I get rid of this? What do I need to do? That's a loaded statement. What do I need to do? And a lot of the truths that are being revealed, dearly beloved masters, are the sacred truths that are a part of, if you would, that creative master's starter kit that was presented to you by God when your soul was created. Here you are. It has everything you will require to create. And I am here to help you co-create. You can't create by yourself, but you can certainly create for yourself. And the ego mind gets all blown out of proportion in its ability to do things. And look what I did. And yes, you did. Oh, by the way, how is God? Because you couldn't have done this by yourself. So where did God come in? And the ego, more than likely, will say, well, God didn't have anything to do with this. I did this. So these mega truths that have existed for this planet, when we're talking about Earth right now, and this system of planets that it's involved with, but I could be talking about anywhere in this universe. I definitely am talking about multiverses because your truth, your beingness is being revealed as so much bigger. But the key to achieving what you desire is focusing in loving intention. Love yourself. Oh, the logical mind goes, no, 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 don't love yourself. If you love yourself, you might make this work. Let me tell you all the things that are wrong with you. Let me get you back in line again. Because, beloved masters, as you focus on the things that you desire, not what's keeping you from getting them, but the things that you desire. And as you are focusing on what you desire, you're opening yourself to spirit to be of assistance, to be supported, to help you heal, to help you prosper, to help you create, to help you feel good about yourself. Amazing what you can accomplish when you feel good about yourself. It's glorious. It's magnificent. The things that you had just accepted were wrong with you weren't even a reality, but a part of the illusion of separation and coming home to yourself and being in love with yourself, loving you, caring about you and for you. You care about others. You care for them. So let me tell you a secret as they are now being revealed. When you honestly, truly love yourself for real, you'll love them more and you'll care for them better than you have. Because if you have left yourself out of the loving and the caring, you don't really have a first-hand understanding of what loving and caring feels like. So you're doing things for other people that you've been told are good things. And yet so often you set out to do something for someone and you find out they didn't like it. They didn't want it. And your feelings are hurt. I did all of this for you. Well, I didn't want it. Why didn't you ask me? Oh, yes. A master will say, how may I serve you? Not, well, I looked at your life and I decided that this is what you need. And so this is what I brought you. And you better well like it because I saw you needed this. Did you hear the buzzwords? Need and do? You don't need to do anything. Spirit will activate you and you'll be absolutely amazed at what you can accomplish. But when you try to do something, quite frequently, it either goes nowhere or the results aren't altogether fulfilling. But when you listen to Spirit's direction, it feels so simple in comparison to what the logical mind has been telling you back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's so pure. And yet, as you stop to think about it, in spirit, the answer was elegantly simplistic. And yet, as you consider the profundity of the cosmos, that simplification soothed your soul to a powerful new direction in a complexity that the finite mind would never be able to grasp. So those who are still trying to figure out what to do are becoming more frustrated all of the time. When you surrender trying, doing, and needing, it's almost as though your vision, inner and outer, clear, and amazingly, the utter simplicity of the truth is astounding. And you know that that truth is something you can accomplish. It doesn't cast aspersions on your weakness or your inability to bring about a masterful creation. It shows you within yourself how you personally can create. Focus on what you desire. Focus with loving intention. Feel that which you desire coming to you, your magnetic energy of creation draws in, manifests what you want, desire in your life, but it truly and intentionally manifests what you put your energy into. So putting your energy into worry, putting your energy into anger, putting your energy into fear, putting your energy into doubting yourself just keeps you in that centrifuge of the logical mind. Around and around and around and around you go. Chasing a desire for answers that are quietly, peacefully waiting inside, and the path within is positive. It's peaceful. It's precious. So Uranus is taking away a lot of what humanity believed they couldn't live without security-wise. Taking away jobs, taking away houses. And what is happening in the majority is they find the challenge to just find another way to be with that, to maybe even get a job that makes them happy instead of one that just makes them money. Maybe if they were really honest, they didn't need nearly as big a house as they had, but the pride of logic had challenged them in a war of prestige. And so they spent money they didn't have to buy things they didn't want, to impress people they didn't particularly like. And where were they in it? They were trying their best to impress others, and they got lost. So here we are. Humanity has wandered in the desert for eons, the desert of who am I? The Master Jesus spent 40 days in the desert in temptation. And the devil tempted him in every humanly possible way. And at the end of the 40 days, Jesus left the desert stronger, cleaner, clearer, and didn't lose anything. But many of the children of God and goddess have wandered in that really rather barren land of trying to impress others when they weren't paying one bit of attention to whether they would be impressed with what they were doing. They were simply attempting to make others like them, love them, give them something. So these universal truths are coming forth now, and they're really big. And sitting between Uranus and Pluto and that trine, Saturn and Neptune. Saturn has already gone direct in Pisces, and it's beginning to make its way back to Aries. And Neptune is going to go direct right at the end of the year. Isn't that amazing? Right at the end of the year. It won't get fully back to its place in Aries until March, but it is that here these planets have been in this powerful configuration of opportunity, focusing that energy into all the individuals on the planet. You can receive it, you can absorb it, you can deny it, you can refuse it, you can believe it doesn't even exist. And yet it's still having an influence. So the power of these aspects, Mars sits in the 22nd degree of Sagittarius. It's conjunct the sun. And Mars sits in a square to this Saturn-Neptune conjunction. It is bringing forth that particular aspect, a lot of frustration about what's really going on. What's really going on in any given situation on the planet. In your personal life, in your corporate life, in your job, with your friends, what's going on in the country where you live, what's going on the planet. Mars is an aggressor. It really is about war. But Sagittarius is about justice and truth. So, interpreted for these times, the light is shining on the injustices of war, and more of them are being brought to light. And it might appear that it's only shining in one place, but because this is a cosmic event, this is a global aspect. It's going to shine on every dictator, every manipulator, everyone who is fighting a war, plotting a war to benefit from those terrible outcomes. And so whether the world ever knows about what this aspect is doing, I can venture to say that those that have been engaging in war and plotting for war to destroy more things and people, to make more land, to achieve more money, they are being revealed, perhaps to the world, but certainly within themselves. So, dearly beloved masters, the revelation of truth, the looking within where truth lies for you in your life, the revelation is about self. It isn't about another war to end all wars. You may find it to be one of the greatest struggles that you've entered into, because letting go of the hold on the illusion may seem like a fight, but if you just let go, it can be delightfully rewarding. And so, beloved masters, revelation of secrets, much more open communication, and another deeper and more profound call to each one on this ball: know thyself. Love yourself. Love yourself. It isn't just about, well, I like myself. It's about going into a deeper relationship with you where you love all that you are. Love doesn't require excuses. It doesn't require explanations. And oh, beloved masters, love never calls for defense. So, dearly beloved masters, you can keep investing your energy and your time in trying to figure out how you can stop the things you don't want. Or you can turn the things you don't want over to Spirit, and then you can ask Spirit to help you genuinely discover the things that you truly love and how to live them well. And so, beloved masters, to really consider yourself in all of this, that isn't selfish. Because if you don't know who you are, you're not giving nearly as much as you could. And that's not a commentary on trying harder or devastating yourself financially to do for others. It's if you don't know who you are, you really don't know your value. You really don't understand how worthy you are. Feel it. Take it in. Be with it daily. And pay attention to what's going on behind you, because your perspective of how much space you actually have will begin to expand more. And so, beloved Master, we will open the circle. Gratitude and blessings to the beings of the North. May we benefit from the blessings. And gratitude and blessings to the waters of the world. May we benefit from their cleansing. And gratitude and blessings to the fire and the dragon heart in each and every one. And blessings and gratitude to the mind and communication and the revelations of truth. And the spirit light shines. And so the circle is open for all that would go your way into your night, into your day. Blessings upon you. We welcome you. And to know that the way is always open. May we meet, may we part, and may we meet again. And for all who would stay and celebrate with us now, we invite you to remain.